家坐一坐低先。
让我介绍一下，下一节是华港财富联合家族办公室与其家族办公室生态环境愿景。我们有主持利小珠小姐，她是亚洲家族办公室协会副主席，还有我们的嘉宾罗思敏小姐，她是华港财富集团首席营运官。好，有请。
Thank you everyone to stay. I'm not going to speak Mandarin, so we have to do this session.
Yes, nice meeting you.
对，不好意思。
Thank you. 你哋有冇加入
？Okay, let me start.
All right. Thank you for staying here. And actually, my name is Belinder. Actually, I was from IT background, and then I was used to work for AT&T, Apple, and doing regional marketing sales. And I was staying in Beijing for a few years, doing a payment system for credit card system. And afterwards, I come back to Hong Kong. I do more on the finance side, so which is I do more like a family office and IPO and M&A. So today, we are very, very honored to have Grace to join us. And her company is Fargo Wealth, which is a very well-renowned multi-family office, boasts extensive experience serving clients across mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, and other Southeast Asia countries. Could you kindly share the, and also I like to brief a little bit of Grace's background. And she's the COO for the Fargo Wealth. And she has more than 20 years of experience in the financial industry, including hedge fund administration, a well-known single-family office, and a multi-family office. And she is very strong in helping entities to set up the whole mid and back office infrastructure and compliance framework. So we are very happy to have Grace to share with us on your latest thought on the trend of family office and how they can help to grow the family office in Hong Kong. Can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you everyone to stay late here with us. I think family office is a hot topic, right, in Hong Kong right now, due to the recent tax regime last year. So I think maybe I just start from Fargo Wealth. Actually, we set up in 2017, and during the 7 years, actually we built a very strong platform. And no matter on the asset management side to support our high net worth clients. We so-called EAM. I think some of you may be familiar with the term EAM, external asset managers. We help our clients to set up different PV onboarding. So we have very broad PV network right now after 7 years. The client can choose their own jurisdiction, for example, Hong Kong, Singapore, or Zurich. No matter on the investment side, asset allocation, asset protection, all these are our agenda. We hope to serve high net worth families. Most of our clients are from China. So during the last few years, I think from IPO, they get the shares listed in Hong Kong, in US, so we can help them to manage their offshore monies. I think Fargo Wealth is quite unique. It's quite different from other multifamily office. We are not only focused on asset management. We also build the ecosystem. For example, when clients need us, we may help them to set up the trust. So that we got the trust license. We have their own trust company. We have the concept. We have fintech. We have distributor for structured product. We have fintech company as well. So we try to build everything around us, around the EAM industry. We hope to build a better picture for all of us. No matter you're a banker, you come to us, we can give you some solution. If you're high net worth, you want to sell SFO, we can help also. So
you have a lot of success to help the tech IPO people to set up their trust. And we just like to share what is the secret and then success on getting all these important people to set up trust with you?
I think the key success of Fargo Wealth is that we are quite client-centric. Now, when clients come to us, I think because we are servicing a multi-family office, not a single-family office, they may have different needs. For example, they may consider their next generation succession plan, the education, or the health problem, or they want to move to other countries. So all these we need to figure out how to do better. I think the first one is client-centric. No matter what kind needs, we hope to find a solution for them. The second one is the technology. We are now in the AI
space.
Yes, the space. Yeah, so we hope to put those AI, the technology, inside our EAM platform. For example, we are building the KYC AI. I think everyone, if you are as a manager, you know how hard about KYC, the requirement right now to open an account for the KYC. So we try to put some technology inside our EAM platform to help our clients, to help our banker to open an account, how to cope with those problems for the KYC issues. I think the first thing would be the strong platform on the middle and back office. A lot of speakers, they share about the difficulties in running the family office, no matter from the setup, getting license, or the ongoing support. I think we are quite strong in building that platform, the structure, the infrastructure, and also to keep our staff learning new things. For example, if you have those about crypto, whether crypto can open an account with PB, we don't know, we need to ask, right? So this is the new things come to us. For example, factor, CRS. I think in the past few years, we also get some challenge on these different regulatory changes. We need to find solution for our clients. The last one is recruit talent. I think in the industry, a lot of speakers also mentioned that we need to get some professional people. You need to have the broad and deep knowledge on how's the family office to be running, or the multi-family office, how to manage our clients' assets, how to find a place which is safe to protect the family wealth. So all these things we are working hard to make it as a successful company.
That's great. So it's a very big scope. And you're also establishing something, the mission of your pioneering Asian EAM incubator, Fargo Space, right? Can you share a little bit on your mission, and then how do you want to accomplish it and help the industry?
Yeah, actually we are EAM. We also incubate EAM. In 2021, we just had an office in Tsim Sha Tsui. Perhaps next week, if you have time, you can come to us, because we also sponsor on 29 and 30. We have a great place here for the physical location for those EAM. If they are startup, they are entrepreneur, they can just at a low cost to rent an office to start their business. So this incubator is helping the banker or those interested to set up EAM, they can come to us. We help them to set up Hong Kong company, BUI company, and then next we will be getting SFC license. So during these 4 to 5 months getting the SFC license, I think it's a long process for some of the EAMs. So you just pass to us. We help them to answer those questions, to arrange all the compliance menu, or those RO, or all these rep applications. So they just focus on their business. They focus on hunting clients to start the client relationship, or they can also start the PB relationship, because they cannot hold client asset. They need to find a PB to park their client's asset there. They do the asset management. So this kind of arrangement we call incubator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, I think this incubation is very good for the industry, because everybody will be focusing more on getting clients, and you're helping on all the back offices, and so you don't really see it as a competition to get the same client together, or.
I think we see collaboration rather than competition, because when EAM come to us, perhaps their client may refer to our others EAM. They work together on some projects, or some of our client, they may have the PE product, VC product. They also come to us, have some marketing on our Fargo space, because we also host event for our clients. No matter you are EAM, you are philanthropy or foundation or charity fund or what else, tax advisor, you can also come to us to have some session to our clients. So we are building a community to everyone can join our platform, to have the sharing, to do business together. I think we can grow the pie bigger rather than we see this as a competition.
That's really good. Most of all, now I'd like to, because of your experience in different area, so can you tell the differences between serving the single-family office and multi-family office? Is there any funny story or a very interesting, exciting story you would like to share with the crowd on your experience?
I think single-family office is all talking about the relationship, because between father and mother or father and son and daughter, we talking about the relationship. Even you have a very strong corporate governance, needed to by law or by rules, you need to do what else you need to follow the agenda. But at the end of the day, it is talking about relationship. It's very important. I think it's the great bonding between the first generation and this generation. So when I was working in the single family office, we have a lot of different events, hope to put everyone together. Some of the sequence maybe in US, in UK, we have a family gathering. We arrange this kind of family gathering for the family. And also we quite emphasize on the relationship between staff, between our colleagues. So I think working in a single family office, just like a family, we together as a family, we have one mission, we have one direction, so we work together on all these plans. But when I moved to multifamily office, I will see this is quite different. It's become more commercial because they may talking about the performance, the return. As every single MFO, they may have different return requirement. You need to have those return maybe is better than outperform the benchmark, or you need to find some different asset class to attract next generation to put more resources there. So MFO, they have different needs. Every family is very unique. So it comes to us. Become a lot of different requests. We need to help them to figure out. But this is very challenging to me, and also I think it works to spend time with them, to talk to them, because of me also learn a lot from them about the new technology or some kind of AI investment. They just come to us for the AI investment, any opportunity in US, because the US market is quite good right now. So they come to us, and then we talk to our IC team to find a solution to them, or we talk to some USPE firm to find some product for our MFO.
Right, that's good. So what is your milestones, key milestones that you wish to accomplish in 2024 or beyond?
I think for Fargo Wealth Group as a whole, I think we hope to build a digitalized EAM platform. So I think everyone here may also get some difficulties when you generate statements from different PB, hedge funds, and we try to provide a consolidated statement to our client, but sometimes it's really hard because you need to gather a lot of different information, and the ops team or the middle back office spend a lot of time to do the calculation, math or Excel. So we hope we can do the digitalized EAM. That means through CRM we can gather all this data through data feed, through fixed connectivity, through one system we can do the PMS and OMS. So this is, I think, a great solution to most of the EAM. If they can put more time to investment or to do with clients, and then those hiccups just goes to the system, and then I think it solves a lot of problems.
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot of things to look forward to in the 2024. Yeah. So is there any questions or from the floor that you would ask Grace to share about her experience in different area, different aspect? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing on how you've helped manage both SFOs as well as MFOs. But I was just wondering, in terms of deal flow, right, and having the best deals, securing the best investments for the family offices, how do you go about it? And is it geographically limited? You mentioned sometimes you get a bit of exposure in the US because of second generation, but since we're all here in Hong Kong, is your deal flow mainly limited to Hong Kong? Thank you.
I think our clients invest globally because we have different jurisdiction. Like in Hong Kong, we have licensed entity. In Singapore, we have licensed entity, and also we do US. We travel a lot to US, Switzerland to know about the investment environment. So we hope to get more diversified asset allocation for our family. For family, they are not looking for double or triple return. They are looking for stable. I think the preservation plus growth will be the ultimate goal. Perhaps 8 to 12% will be the performance they are looking for. So we try to find some. I think asset protection is number one. The second one we have to promote is the peace in mind. If you are very wealthy but you worry a lot, so you can't see the beauty of wealth, right? So we hope we can settle all these things and help our clients to plan ahead. They may focus on their own business. We can help them on the investment side.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I think we have time for one more. If there's... So Grace, do you have a key takeaway you want to impress the audience tonight before they go to bed tonight?
Yeah, I think SFO would be one of the highlights this year, because when the high net worth they are going to sell the SFO, because from my experience, SFO is not a new thing. I worked in the SFO 20 years ago. So if Hong Kong government promote SFO and put a lot of resources in building that area, I think it will benefit the whole industry. For example, on the investment side, the SFO may know more about the investment environment in Hong Kong, their choices, and how they diversify their assets. Because in the current regime, you don't need to put all the assets in Hong Kong. It can be worldwide, can be global. It's quite different from Singapore's scheme, the 13O, 13U. So we quite emphasize on the overall ecosystem rather than you just put money here to be the asset management in Hong Kong only. So for the SFO, I think the entry level is quite low compared to other countries. And also we are helping our clients to set up the first SFO as well in last year. We are quite smooth in helping clients to have their own SFO, the administration. They can also rent a small office on that, and then to build their team, 2 to 3 people to start with, and then to outsource those investment management to EAM. So this is, I think Hong Kong, we have capacity, we have also professional expertise here to help the growth of SFO.
That's very good. Thank you, Grace.
Yeah,
thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, testing. So still continue. Our host is Belinder Lee, Vice Chairman from Association of Family Office. And then next topic, we will go to next generation digital securities exchange. So our guest will be Mr. Kelvin Ang, the president from Fusang.
下一节的讲题是下一代数字证券交易所，主持还是利小珠小姐，亚洲家族办公室协会副主席。我们的嘉宾有请吴家荣先生，他是扶桑总裁。好。
Thank you. Wow. We still have so many people staying. Not bad. It's almost getting. I think we should go for a midnight drinks. Okay. Final and the most important person I'm going to interview is Kelvin from Fusang. And Kelvin is a very seasonal finance person, and he used to run the LiquidNet, globalizing LiquidNet and bring it to a lot of country. And LiquidNet is a dark pool, the most famous #1 institutional dark pool system. And then you globalize it in many countries. Yeah, and then also Kelvin has been working in the SFC, so he see the coin from the both sides. So so have the experience of like you know, from the perspective of the regulator, and then also, and now he's the CEO of Fusang. So I'll let him to introduce more.
I'm actually the president of Fusang.
Oh, sorry, president.
And in my dark pool days, we say we came from the dark side. So.
No, dark pool. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it must be the night. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'm still on European time, so I just came back from the World Economic
Forum. Yeah, from Davos, right?
Yeah. And it was just as cold there as it is here, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
So in terms of like my career background, I globalized a firm called Liquidnet, which is the world's #1 institutional dark pool. I have been a regulator with the SFC, where I actually taught them about AI and machine learning and learned about blockchain whilst I was there, which is kind of what gave me my interest in digital assets. I then launched my own business, which was invested in by CLSA. But it kind of got stuck. So version 2 of that company is Fusang, a digital securities exchange regulated out of Malaysia and the bottom. So what's unique about Fusang, which is different to all the other digital asset players, is our exchange is actually a securities stock exchange. So we focused on what people are talking about, real world assets and investments. Whereas in the digital crypto space, more often than not, for 99% of those tokens, you don't know what you're investing into, and you're just betting on basically volatility, right? Whereas our business model is really focused on how do we connect institutional funds and flows into private and alternative investments. So it's really quite a different business model. We are quite unique because we can do private markets, but we can also IPO companies in our stock exchange. So the jurisdiction we're in is quite dynamic. The founding family, I guess, that invested in this company about 20, 30 years ago, they won the mandate for the law firm to write the securities law in Malaysia.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we kind of have a kind of interesting jurisdiction that we can operate out of. And the only other exchange in our region is, in our jurisdiction, is Bursa Malaysia, but they're not actively using their license.
That's good. So if people don't want to launch it in Hong Kong, they can go to Lavon and then ask you to, as an alternative platform to do like a fundraising or, placement or etc.
So the digital side of our business is really focused on a combination of factors: private assets, private investments. So you can do effectively syndication of private deals that you would do for club deals for family offices or multi-family offices.
Yes.
We have digitized the share registry effectively and built a clearinghouse.
Okay.
So what that means is the cap table of shares on a company. You can have a digital registry in our platform, and single-family offices, multi-family offices can come and do their club deals and transact, especially in a multi-family office environment where you've got multiple SPVs. It's quite painful to open bank accounts for all of the SPVs. But if you come and transact through our platform, then you open your accounts with our exchange. So we KYC your legal entities. If you're regulated, we let you participate on the exchange directly. If you are not regulated, then you have to come via a regulated broker-dealer that's part of our network. But it means that the KYC process for the multi-family office and all of the chain of SPVs,
it will go down the time.
Because if they're individuals, we can do it all digitally. If it's a corporation, then we would have a normal, probably two-week process. But then you don't necessarily have to go and open bank accounts everywhere, because we can give you a sub-account as part of our kind of trust relationship. And then as you're managing the family's wealth, you can then switch deals and ownership, just like sending tokens to each other. But all of our network is a closed private network. And it's the digital equivalent of going to the lawyer, signing all the paperwork and swapping the shares.
Wow, so gusounds like making life much easier for every party in the chain, right?
Correct. So the company was born out of I guess the founder's father runs a company called Portcullis. Portcullis is one of Southeast Asia's largest corporate services businesses. And their paper trail, if you go to their offices in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, is huge, right? So I think they saw this paper trail problem many, many years ago.
Wow.
And thought, why don't we make a digital version of this? And that's really the birthing idea of Fusang.
Oh, that's really good. So we understand Fusang has also offered the issuance of Islamic bonds, right? which is a unique market. Indeed, what is the sukuk? What are the Sharia compliant bond-like financial instruments?
Right. So, I guess why did we even do this product?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is we're a Malaysian kind of operating entity.
Yeah.
We figured,
So it's
how do we
more-
be number one at something in the world? Because if you're not number one, then you don't get any business. So we
Right.
figured, the world, Malaysia is the largest, like even ahead of the Middle East, the largest issuer of sukuks, and sukuks are effectively the Islamic version of bonds.
Yes.
However, the Islamic version of bonds cannot have debt, right? So these are profit-based investments,
I see.
and they cannot invest into things like tobacco and alcohol. So
they have a limitation on the things, the asset class that they can invest in, right?
Correct. So it's really interesting because it's kind of faith-based, right? So based on this Islamic law,
Right.
they kind of invest in alignment to that. So in the sukuk market, which is the largest in Malaysia, we saw that it's not very liquid. So there's lots of issuances, multi-billion-dollar market. We were thinking, how can we be number one? So we decided, let's go and tokenize the world's first institutional sukuk. And what we did is we picked a provider, which is very interesting. So the Islamic Liquidity Management Corporation, which is headquartered in KL, they are invested in by the 8 Islamic central banks.
Okay.
So it's a very unique issuer in the whole planet. So what we did is we took their issued instruments and we tokenized it as the world's first institutional tokenized sukuk. But the underlying assets are effectively sovereign assets. And what we did is we created an alternative in digital form to US Treasuries.
Right.
And actually that paired it more than US Treasuries as well. So our first transaction that we executed was in October.
Okay.
There's on a 1 month, 30-day contract, a yield of around 5.3%.
Wow.
So these are sovereign assets where you just park capital, very safe. That's just a historical transaction that we do. Effectively, what our exchange is interested in is basically how do we connect access to these types of financial products that are not easy for partners to go and buy. Like we found, even when we were setting up our business model, it's actually very hard for us to go and buy the actual underlying assets.
Right.
So, and the reason why we worked with that issuer is the issuer said to us, hey, we've done $14 billion of issuance in this program last year, but we can do more, but the distribution is not there. Because the local banks in Malaysia were just sitting on the transactions and put the 5% in their pocket for doing
Just
not
like
very
a fixed
much.
deposit, right?
Right. So we figured that could be quite an interesting product and service for other banks and brokers around the world.
Right.
And our exchange model is quite interesting. So as long as you are a regulated financial intermediary from anywhere in the world,
Right.
you can connect into our stock exchange. And this is just one of many products that we were looking to put on the shelf for partners. But it's the simplest one because it's S&P rated with an A1 credit rating for the issuer program, which means it's a kind of safer product for people to start with. As our platform evolves, it will go down the path of private credit.
Yes.
And even down the path of like impact bond issuance.
So that would be more like a private type of bonds would be issuing, just using similar ideas, and it would be easier to issue. And
Yeah, correct. So we've been speaking to many sponsors, issuers, especially if they've taken companies to NASDAQ recently.
Right.
And one of the pain points for Chinese entrepreneurs taking companies to NASDAQ is our branding has been a bit challenged.
Yes.
Probably the really correct way to put it. So a lot of these companies, the share prices collapsed, right? They're probably down 90% from their IPO price. And what we're finding is a lot of the issuers are saying, how do we get the liquidity back up to the and get prices back up? Because people are not investing in the companies right now. So one thing which is unique about our exchange is we are able to secondary list public securities on our exchange from any market around the world.
okay.
And we've been working with market makers to create a liquidity play where it could be an alternative market to NASDAQ, trading outside of market hours on a 24/7 basis.
Right.
So as you start to do that, then we can see how we can bring liquidity back into the market.
Well,
for
please
these
bring some to
securities.
Hong Kong. We do need some in Hong Kong. So Yeah, another question is the digital assets. We see the huge potential, and the government's really pushing it. On different level. So how will you compare the market in Hong Kong and Singapore? Because there's always a comparison between these two places anyway. Yeah.
Sure. If I put my old regulatory hat, it's probably the most appropriate.
Yeah.
In Hong Kong and Singapore, they had different levels of progression with regards to digital assets.
Right. Yeah. I think the
both
regulation is a big part, right?
in
Yeah.
2017, no one knew what these digital assets were. In 2023, there's a clear distinction, right? So you have cryptocurrencies on one side, which Singapore did initially focus on, but seems to be backing away from retail access to cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
For various reasons of industry market structure problems. Hong Kong has obviously gone down the path of let's go 100% all in on cryptocurrencies. In my mind, maybe a little bit too aggressive on the retail side, to be honest.
I think so, yeah.
But I think it's good for the development of the cryptocurrency market. Where Hong Kong is very weak, and actually even Singapore is they haven't focused on digital securities regulation. But one thing Hong Kong has done recently, which is really quite positive for the securities market, is they've clarified that cryptocurrencies are cryptocurrencies. And if it's a digital form of a security, it's a security. Because before the last 4 years, it was very confusing what that meant for Hong Kong investors and the issuers and the asset class itself. So I think that will drive the industry forward in Hong Kong. But it's still got other challenges with the regulatory.
I think there's still a lot of things for them to learn.
Yes, and there's no reference point, unfortunately. For most of the
Exactly,
regulators, the hard thing is this is a new market that's developing, and most regulators don't have the mandate for market development. They've never built a marketplace. Most of them haven't even traded. So how are you going to develop something that you don't understand?
I don't think they have an account or wallet or anything. Some of them.
Won't disclose to you, but
Yeah. So anyway, understand the main impact investors in the AFO circles, which is like we experience today. A lot of investors here, they're seeking ways to participate in the venture philanthropy. So this is why the AFO is also launching the support of a C fund. So can you share a little bit about what is C fund and how do you see, what kind of asset class or whatever that you can involve in this fund?
Sure. So the C fund stands for the Social, Environmental, Economical Fund, and it's born out of multiple years of conversation between myself and Eva and some of my other sustainability and impact friends from around the world. The vision is a fund that drives sustainable investment and helps us deliver the world's SDGs. And then what we've done is we've utilized 2 technology companies, so effectively a sustainability fintech called Worldwide Generation to do the measuring and monitoring of impact outcomes on companies. They measure the supply chain of corporations,
Right.
and then they evaluate the SDG kind of metrics of where they are using various of the different SDG frameworks around the world, or
Right.
impact frameworks around the world. And then we use our exchange to do the issuance of bonds initially, but we can do equities later. But the bonds that we issue are tied to the impact measure and the outcome that we're trying to create. So it could be that some packages of these bonds are more focused on poverty, gender equality, but it goes beyond even SDGs. It could be faith-based investing. So in our exchange, what's unique is because we're a low-cost infrastructure to issue securities,
Right.
we can basically package them in a way that investors want to invest aligned to their interest, faith. And we then measure and monitor the outcomes using this sustainability tech company and combine that into what we call a circular economy. So any revenues we generate from these related transactions, we made it like the world's first circular kind of fund where we put 10% of our related revenues from those transactions back into the fund to make it snowball.
Okay.
And then if you think about family offices, single family offices, multi-family offices, how can they participate? Is on one side we're looking for LP liquidity for the fund, so it can co-invest with specialist verticals. So it could be EV supply chain, it could be like carbon neutrality solutions, it could be like life on ocean. And then we take the pain out for the SFO and the MFOs to be specialists in everything they're investing in. And they can get the momentum of a much higher velocity fund that's investing at a much larger scale from specialists that are monitoring each of these investments or portfolio funds that we're investing into. So it's that kind of circular kind of economy. It's the sharing is caring, but we don't want just any LP liquidity. We would like certainly the families to bring access to the private deals as well to the fund, because normally most families are investing in like the private deals. The bigger ones are on their own, they don't always even clump together. But we know those curated deals are probably higher quality deals. And if you think about the whole global economy, about how to reach sustainability, if we club together and collaborate, we think we have a higher degree of creating that outcome.
Wow, that sounds like a big job and also very high achievement. Hope we can, contribute to some of them.
I think it was earlier there was a speaker that mentioned every year there's a shortfall of at least $3 trillion every year to meet sustainable development goal objectives. I think the number's up to about 4 trillion now, right, on a yearly basis. So our fund is like a starting point where we think we need to create a snowball for collaboration. So LP investors, deal flow access, targeted outcomes, right? So we look at the national stock exchanges around the world. My criticism of them and why we decided to use Fusang in a slightly different way is that they're all focused on climate impact and carbon reduction, and that's it. So what about all the other SDGs? Right, so while most of them are following like a global set of like regulatory kind of like guidance, they've missed all of the other important things, like gender equality, it's like poverty. None of them tackle any of these problems. And if we're supposed to hit some of these SDG objectives, 2030, 2040, 2050, the target moves 10 years every few weeks from what I can see. We're not going to hit any of them by the way that the financial infrastructure is designed today. So we decided to use our exchange to underpin the launch of these types of impact bonds and connect global investors to solve some of the world's sustainability problems, and that's what's really interesting about our platform right now.
Wow, that sounds like a really good goals for all of us, and to do the sustainability growth and also the impact investing as well, right? And last of all, you have been supporting the AFO's mission action with Eva and a group of people for many years. So how will you continue to do vision, apart from using your Fusang platform to promote this SDG? But how do you, after you issue all this bond, then to promote to the world, and how to enhance it to a second level of environmental protection?
Right. So I mean, at the moment, we obviously at COP28 we signed an MOU between multifamily office, single family office. Obviously, Eva as
I see a list of the participants.
Our exchange and FinTech. But we are looking for other partners to grow into our network, because each partner will have a specialist niche, special access, special contribution towards this kind of bigger picture vision. We see it as the world's kind of global sovereign fund. So it's like if you think about like Noah's Ark and we were saving the world, we've got to get everyone on the same ship first, and we've got to go and solve some of the world's problems together. So we see that as the long-term objective of what the C Fund is trying to achieve. And eventually over time what we will look to do is combine factors like, I think that there were some numbers quoted about venture philanthropy, the contribution to, I think that was forestry, if I didn't.
The other guy, right?
The contribution
nature conservation.
Nature conservation is very low. We're not making very much impact because the fund flows are not getting to the right places. But when they are being deployed, they're very niche projects, as opposed to thinking in the much more larger macro scale, which is what we're trying to do. So obviously part of our fund strategy is to really get Middle East partners, as well as like people here in Asia, to collaboratively contribute to the fund and provide access. And you can see that there's a lot of momentum, certainly in the Middle East, for sustainable investment. And we see that's where our exchange is positioned quite nicely with regards to Islamic finance as well. So it's just connecting the dots between Asian fund flows, the purpose that I think we all want to do to try and contribute to saving the planet, and then how do we then connect it back to real investments? And earlier you asked about sukuks, right? So it's like, how do we do that with like a framework that basically is contributing for a good cause or something?
Yeah. Okay, I think this is a very interesting topics, and then we can talk for hours. But is there any questions from the floor that you would like to ask Kelvin and share? I know it's getting very late, but so you have questions? Oh, sorry. You do?
Yeah, so I'm trying to learn more about, thank you, Kelvin, to share the information insights, but I'm trying to learn more about CBDC and how it can correlate with the decentralization and social impact. So ultimately, what's your view, and what do you think the direction is going? Where can it be cohesive, or there will be more regulation that is implemented in this area?
Okay, and you asked up 5 related questions there, so I'm going to try and simplify it. So CDBCs, there are 2 types, right? So there are going to be institutional type CDBCs, which is basically wholesale settlement, probably bank-to-bank CDBCs utilization. And then there are retail CDBCs, right? And that's where you get the skeptics saying, hey, the retail people are being watched by the government and your spending patterns are being controlled and monitored. I think the use case for CDBCs is going to be more on the wholesale side, to be honest. It's more about liquidity and efficiency of markets. On the retail side, there's not really that much benefit if every country has its own retail CDBC, because the payment infrastructure of most countries, the government can monitor it anyway. So kind of like, what's the point, right? But let's see, I'm not too sure where Hong Kong's focus is actually on CDBCs. But our exchange, we do plan on integrating CDBCs to our exchange for institutional settlement. It's just faster payment, right? And it's like, and it means that when an institution shows up to settle a trade, they really settle it. There won't be any failed trades. So we see that as a valuable piece of market structure solution. But I personally don't really see the use case for retail CDBCs, right? And the decentralization aspect, they're not decentralized. It's the reality. It's state-run by every country.
That's very good. So, any more questions? So, why don't we have ask Kelvin, what's the key takeaways you want the group to share and impress with them as the last speakers?
Sure. I guess clearly, if you've got questions on digital assets and digital securities in particular, happy to go and share with you guys, or even run a workshop for multi-family offices and single-family offices. You may want to explore how you can utilize that infrastructure to structure your transactions. The vision for digital assets is really, 1, access to liquidity, so that could be debt capital markets, equity capital markets access. But 2, in any private transaction that's digitized, it can actually then sit on our secondary market and be sold to other LP liquidity. And our other LP liquidity in our exchange is actually a mixture of digital banks and digital brokers, Islamic banks and brokers that are connected to our stock exchange. So we can fractionalize down to the next level. And if you see where the vision, or I guess if you see where cryptocurrencies went to in terms of fractional investments, we can do that for securities. And that's actually what's probably the most interesting use case.
I'm looking forward to learn more about the Fusang and the capability as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think this is all for the interview. And thank you very much. Thank you, Kelvin. And thank you for staying. Yeah. Have a good evening. I think this is the last, right?
Let's take a photo together.